The room was quiet in a way that felt heavy but gentle, like the moment just before rain touches dry ground. The AGT music room was smaller than the main stage, softer in its lighting, warmer in its air. A single lamp glowed near a piano. Chairs were set in a loose circle, not for an audience, but for listening. This was not a place for fireworks or fast applause. It was a place where stories breathed slowly. A thin young man stood near the center of the room. His shoes were worn, the edges cracked from long walks on hard streets. His shirt was clean but faded, washed many times by hand. His hands rested at his sides, fingers slightly curled, as if they did not yet believe they were allowed to be here. He was a street singer from the Philippines, someone who had learned music not from schools or lessons, but from sidewalks, corners, and long nights when songs were the only warm thing he owned. He looked around the room with quiet eyes. The walls held instruments he had only seen in pictures. The floor was smooth, not dusty or broken. For a moment, he felt like his breath was too loud. He lowered his head, not from shame, but from habit. On the streets, looking down kept trouble away. Simon Cowell sat across from him, leaning back slightly, arms resting but not crossed. His face was calm, unreadable, the way it often was when he listened closely. He had heard thousands of voices. Some strong, some trained, some loud. But he had also learned to listen for something else. Something real. The singer took a slow breath. He thought of mornings back home when the sun rose too early and the streets were already alive. He remembered singing near closed shops, hoping someone would stop. He remembered the sound of coins hitting the ground, sometimes kind, sometimes careless. He remembered hunger that stayed even after eating, and dreams that felt too big to hold. Music had always been his way to stay standing. When his voice came out, the world slowed down just enough for him to feel human again. Singing was not about being seen. It was about surviving another day. Simon asked gently why he had chosen this song. The singer lifted his head and answered in simple words. He said the song spoke about wanting a little help, just enough to breathe, just enough to stand back up. He said it was how his life felt. Not a big dream, just a small chance. No one rushed him, no one interrupted. The room respected silence. He closed his eyes before singing, not to hide, but to remember. The first note came out soft, almost unsure, like a step onto thin ice. His voice was not perfect. It was textured, carrying rough edges shaped by wind and long nights. But it was honest. Each word of, "I need $1," moved slowly through the room, not performed, but offered. The song felt different here. Without noise, without crowd energy, every line felt heavier. When he sang about needing $1, it did not sound like money. It sounded like dignity, like a wish to rest without fear, like asking the world to see him, just for a moment. Simon's posture changed slightly. He leaned forward, his hands now closer together. His eyes stayed on the singer, unblinking. He did not smile. He did not judge. He listened. The singer's voice grew steadier as the song continued. His shoulders relaxed. The room disappeared, and in its place were the streets again. But this time, the streets were quiet, and someone was finally listening without walking past. He sang about working hard and still falling behind. About waking up with hope and going to sleep with doubt. His voice cracked once, just for a second, and he did not fight it. He let it stay. That crack held years inside it. Simon swallowed slowly. His face softened in a way cameras rarely caught. This was not about talent anymore. It was about truth. The final lines of the song came gently, like a hand placed on a shoulder. The singer opened his eyes as the last note faded. He did not raise his head in pride. He simply stood there, breathing, as if unsure whether the moment was real or already gone. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Then something changed. Simon looked down, just briefly, as if steadying himself. When he looked back up, his eyes were wet. Not shiny, not dramatic. Just quietly full. He pressed his lips together, trying to hold something in. The singer noticed and froze. He had seen many reactions before. Smiles, nods, sometimes laughter. But this was different. This felt like something had reached through the room and touched another heart. Simon exhaled, slow and deep. He wiped under his eye, not caring who saw. His voice, when he spoke, was lower than usual. He said the song reminded him why music mattered. He said it was not about being rich or famous. It was about being heard when you feel invisible. The singer listened, his hands trembling slightly. He had never imagined his voice could do this to someone like Simon Cowell. He had never imagined that pain he carried quietly could connect so clearly. Simon paused again, emotion still close. He said he had heard many versions of that song, but never one that felt so lived in. He said it did not sound like a performance. It sounded like a life. The singer nodded slowly. He did not know what to say. Words felt small compared to what had just happened. The room stayed still, holding the moment carefully. No one rushed to break it. Simon stood up. The movement was slow, deliberate. He walked a few steps closer, not as a judge, but as a person. He told the singer that sometimes the world asks too much from people who already carry too much. He said this voice deserved rest, respect, and a chance to grow. Tears slipped down Simon's face now, freely. He did not hide them. He did not apologize. They were honest, like the song. The singer's own eyes filled, but he did not cry loudly. His tears came quietly, the way his life had always moved. He pressed his lips together, nodding again and again, as if afraid the moment might vanish if he spoke. Simon placed a hand over his chest and said that this was the reason the show existed. Not for noise, but for moments like this. He said the singer did not just need $1. He deserved a future where he would never have to ask again. The gentle twist of the moment was not fame or promises. It was connection. Two lives from different worlds meeting in the space between a song. The singer felt something new settle inside him. Not excitement, not shock, but calm. For the first time in a long time, he felt seen without having to shout. Simon stepped back, wiping his face one last time. He smiled, small but real. He told the singer to keep singing, no matter what came next. He said the voice had already done its job. The singer bowed his head slightly, a sign of respect learned long ago. He thanked Simon, his voice soft but steady. As the moment ended, the room slowly returned to normal sounds. Chairs shifted. Someone took a breath, but the feeling stayed, warm and deep. Later, when the singer walked out of the music room, the hallway felt different. The lights were brighter. The air felt lighter. He was still the same person. Still poor. Still carrying the same past. But something had changed. He no longer felt invisible. Back home, the streets would still be there. The nights would still be long. But now, when he sang, he would remember this room. This silence, this listening, and somewhere far away, Simon Cowell would remember a voice that did not ask for much. Just $1, just a chance, and in that quiet music room, both of them had found something worth more than either expected.